All right. Now we are on to our next 11-minute lesson. Deborah, are you still with us?
Of course I am. It is Ursula, is it?
It is Deb o'clock is right.
Thank you
So,
so much for having me, Bobby, and I am so thrilled to be part of this event. I would love to know in the chat where any or all of you are in your author journey. Do you have a book? Do you want to write a book? I believe that, as Bobby says, visibility is opportunity. And that is a huge part of writing a book. Before you even start writing, it is so important to figure out your why behind it. You can use this if you want to go self-publishing, but I believe if you've got a big message to share, why not go big and explore the traditional routes? And why write a book? Visibility, credibility, and reach are really important, but it is also important that you have an experience and or expertise to share. People saying, "Oh, you should write a book," is not a reason to write a book because then it will literally be backburnered until you're like, "Okay, I'm ready, I'm ready." And that's one of the things a book proposal does is it basically gives you a coloring book to fill in with all the things you need to write the actual book. And most people think, oh, it's so hard to get a traditionally published book. But the truth of the matter is, the publishers and agents, they are looking for books that they can sell. They want a win-win-win. So it is your job as a subject matter expert and author to give them one. Something else people don't realize that unless it's a memoir, you don't need to write the whole book. What you do is you write a book proposal, which is a business and marketing document that pitches you, your idea, and your unique spin. It is great for developing your concept and your platform and staying organized throughout the book writing journey. But most importantly, it speaks for you because you use a book proposal to get an agent. An agent then uses your book to pitch publishers, and then that acquisitions editor still needs to pitch you to their editorial board. So a book proposal, which is written in the third person, is your way of being in the room when you're not in the room. The elements of the book proposal, they go into three parts. I call them the three C's. There's concept, context, and content. And I'm going to go through real quick what's in each section, and then I will share what those important three sections are to work on first. So concept is what's in the book. Your overview starts with a hook. It encompasses what's in the book, what makes it unique, why you need to write it, and why people will read it. And then it goes into more detail what's in the book and your book specs. That's a concept. Context, which a lot of people call promotion, but I like the alliteration. That's who the heck are you to write it? And who out there is going to read it section. So it is your author bio and photo. It is your testimonials or reviews if you've got a previously published book, your author platform, your marketing plan, the audience, and your comp titles. And then the third section gets to your actual content, which is your table of contents, your detailed outline, and your writing sample, which I always think it's really funny that the sample chapters are your writing sample because the whole book proposal, that is a sample of your writing, but also your enthusiasm for the topic. So let's talk about those three most important elements. This is what any agent's going to look at first, what any publisher is going to look at first to see if your book is viable before they dive into the other sections. So first, we've got your overview. Your overview, this is the promise of your book proposal, which is in essence the promise of your book. So you start with a hook, something that's really going to draw the reader in, talk about your topic, but also the differentiator. By the way, you never want to say, no one has written this book before because whoever's reading it, their eyes are going to glaze over. Your point isn't to be a book no one's ever written before. It's to say this book needs to be read because people are interested in this subject matter. People have written other books on the topic that have done well. We'll get into that in a minute. So you're talking about your topic, but what is that differentiator? And then why you as the author are the best and only person who can write this book and who is going to read this book. Going back to why you, the author, and this I say all the time, as soon as you decide, okay, I have a business, I have a podcast, I'm going to write a book, you are the diva, the queen, the king, the whatever of that domain. Own it. And that also needs to be a thread that runs through the proposal. So again, overview, be able to say in one page what the book is, what makes it unique, why you need to write it, and why people will read it. Everything else in the proposal grows from there. The next section is your audience, and this comes toward the end of the context section. And this is research-based, and you could start with the Google. I actually did this for a client recently, and I had to go to another search engine because AI was giving me really dated information. But start with the simple search of who reads books on this? What are their spending habits? What are the buying trends? You want your primary and your secondary audience. But this section is saying the audience, the people who are going to read this book, are here, and here they are. Use live links to any data that's going to make the case for the people who are going to buy it. So, for example, business leadership book, look at how much money companies spend in leadership development. If it's a cookbook, look at how much money is spent in this, even though people look for recipes online all the time, there's still a lot of money being spent in that market. So look, do your research, get your primary and your secondary audience, and include the links. And then the third section is probably the most important, which is the comp titles. So this is your true proof of salability. You are looking for 5 titles traditionally published within the last 5 years with good rankings, nice ratings, but also to do an analysis. So what you want to say is, this book is sold well. And then in the analysis, say what the book does, and then counter it with, in the third person, what your book does. So this book is great, but it doesn't tell the whole story. In this book, we do this, this, and this. Or if your book has got elements of other books, say this is just part of it. The author's book is a combination of these different topics, and you use a comp title for each one. And I like 5 because ideally you want all 5 of them to fit the criteria, but if there's one out of the box, a little bit older title, you could put that in. If there's a super popular title that's like a leap to compare your book to, you could put that in, or a wildly successful, not traditionally published book, but you do want the majority to follow these criteria. Once you figure it out, and if you're looking at your topic and like, okay, I do this, I have a methodology, think about what is it that your book is going to add in value so people who buy other books on the subject need your book as well. So those are the sections. You've got your overview, you've got your audience and your comp titles, and then you build the rest of the book proposal. But once you really nail these, then I was going to say it's easy. It's as easy as something that you're really passionate about that requires a lot of work is going to do. But that's really what is going to give you the legs that your book proposal will stand on. Again, I'm Debra Eckerling, the book proposal expert, your goal guide, and 52 secrets for goal setting and goal getting, which Bobby is in, by the way. Those traditionally published, as is my lifestyle book. I'm the co-author of a book called Active Grandparenting, which is coming out this fall, which I think is hilarious. My co-author is a pioneer of the active grandparenting movement. I'm single and child-free. And our agent sold it within a month because it was very clear of what the book is, why people need it, why they will buy it off the bat. I've got tons of resources. I've got a Substack, a podcast. I do AMAs on LinkedIn and Substack. I also write for Writer's Digest and do a monthly goals mixer. Again, my first 2 traditionally published books are on goals. And I do offer services to help you get that book idea into a format that gets attention from agents and publishers. My goal is to help people get their books out of their head and in a format in a way that people will actually read your book. Because whereas self-publishing and a hybrid is an option, It's just an option. You're putting all this love into your book. You want to get into the hands of the people you don't know, and traditionally publishing does that for you. I'm going to give you one piece of homework. The fourth thing, which is actually the first thing, is to name your book. Give your book a working title. It may change. My first two book titles both changed, one a lot, one a little, but this makes the project real and helps you move forward in the process. Thank you so much.